I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, what's good? We are back. Episode 3. We're in the house. Filthy Rich, The Island. A lot to talk about. We already discussed so much. I feel like, man, this is just going to keep going. We got one more episode after this. I'm your boy, Danny Royce. Not here alone. I got a beautiful co-host with me. First, right below me, you've seen her in The Real Housewives of New York. Also, Camp Getaway. She'll be taking care of our news and gossip. The amazing model, Allie James.
Hello. Yeah, this episode was just, wow. I'm excited to talk about it.
Right, that part. And joining me over here, you've seen her in Vanderpump Rules. And she's also in charge of our special segment, Shine a Light, the creator of Make a Statement online show. You got to hear all about that later. Please welcome the one and only Jeroslyn Johnson.
Hey guys, I'm excited to come back for episode 3 because it just gets more and more harrowing. And it's like, oh my gosh, I got to talk about this. So I'm so happy that I get to watch an episode and then come talk shit about it. Because
Yes.
that's exactly what you want to do after watching it.
Yeah.
In addition to being on Twitter, it's like, I need to talk about this with people. Oh, AfterBuzz, here we go.
So true.
Crazy. Yeah, AfterBuzz, right? And we are, keep that in mind. We are watching these episodes right as we talk about them. So it's fresh in our mind. We didn't binge watch this, okay? And but Jeroslyn, you were just saying you wanted to talk about it, dying to talk about it. So what do you think about this episode?
Well, I was completely here for the celebrity sightings. You know, this was the episode where I was like talking at the screen the whole time, like, yeah, I knew I'd see you there. No surprise there. And then just, you know, how pissed off you get with the dealing with his case,
Right.
The violation of his probation, everything he was still doing while he was in jail. Very, very El Chapo.
Right.
So this episode just pulls out a lot more emotion out of you.
I feel you. Allie, what do you think about the overall episode?
I completely agree. Like, I was also talking to the episode. I was just like, wow. Like, left and right, so much happened. I mean, yeah, I think you covered it. Like, everything from learning about the island to those fun celebrity sightings, to hearing how his jail sentence was served was insane. I didn't even know that was an option. It was just shocking overall.
When you're a rich white male, anything's an option.
It's just sickening. Yeah. And then more victims. We're just, you know, every episode we're hearing more and more disheartening stories. It's just sad. But overall, yeah, a very big episode.
Yes, I agree with both of you. Excited to dig into it. Once again, everyone, if you're tuning in, watching us, these are just our opinions on the episode. We are not any type of doctors or anything like that, criminal investigators, but it's just our opinions on the episode. Filthy Rich, episode 3, The Island. We finally got a bird's eye view of the island, also known as Little St. James, also known as Little St. Jeff. That is very narcissistic of him.
Right.
But I want to talk about, the prosecution, and then we're going to talk about the island. So we're going to break it up into 2 segments. I feel like it was just a lot thrown in this episode, but relatively around the same thing. So let's talk about the prosecution, the plea deal. I see you shaking your head. What was your original thoughts about like how they went along with this hush-hush, court case?
You want to know who knows who and how they know who, right? Like, are some of these attorneys and judges and prosecutors, were they visiting these islands? Were they going to his Palm Beach estate? Were they related to someone? Because it's clearly close ties, right? Because even when you see when the FBI gets to his house in Palm Beach and, it's all, things are already gone. They can already tell someone has tipped him off. So it's like, how, okay, clearly, we get it. He has money, but is it like calling someone up and like, hey, I know the FBI is looking into me, I'll pay you? Or is it like somebody's calling him like, hey, this is what's going on? It's so shady. Now, granted, clearly Epstein is a smart guy. You know, he knew about how much of a hot mess Florida was before all of us. You know, we didn't really start to really find out until Trayvon Martin, but
Right.
he was living in the right state, in the right city, to be able to get away, you know, because at this point we do already know, one, how flawed the justice system is, but especially how flawed the justice system is in Florida.
Right.
So that was going through my mind when I'm seeing how he was able to have secret meetings without the defendants knowing, or he was the defendant, or like, so it's like the witnesses, they were all left in the dark, and he created this weird deal where he was able to get out on a work release. And then when what kills me are the wrong and strong people that are still like, people like some of his attorneys, are the people who are explaining the way he was able to get away with getting out of jail. Like, well, this is available to everyone. It's just that it costs $42 an hour. When you total it, it's like, come on, who could really afford all of that? So no, it's not available to everyone. Everyone can't afford that. So you're clearly establishing these set privileges for people with money. So you're letting us know that people with money are above the law. And is it fair? No. Is it fair? Completely no. So this episode, that prosecution was a joke, but thank God for time, the real justice. Because if not for this coming back around just this past year, he would still be chilling. He just bought the other island.
Yeah, he had two neighboring islands. Ali, did you want to add anything about that, or?
I totally agree. Also, kind of relevant right now, but we just saw this with Lori Loughlin's new case. I mean, she has been pleading guilty for over a year. And then all of a sudden, after, coronavirus, we don't know where they're meeting, what's going on. Is she having Zoom calls with her attorney? Something happened because they came up with an agreement, and now she's serving 2 months. Like 2 months in jail after like maintaining her innocence for this whole time. It's just that white celebrity, rich privilege, and this is exactly that also.
Yeah,
to an extreme different level, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Then like you said, Jeroslyn, is like, this is teaching. What is this teaching us? That these people are above the law. And they don't get the same treatment as we do. And it's not right, and something needs to happen about it for sure. But I want to get into what his plea deal actually was. So it was 18 months detention facility, all right? So it's basically, like she said, he was living in a bad motel, and he had work release 6 days and 12 hours of the day for off-duty deputy for $42 an hour. So you get to be out of prison 6 days out of the week and half of the day. So
more than that. Well,
yeah. So where is the punishment in that? And then when they said, I was just thinking, I was thinking The Godfather as soon as they were talking about like him in prison, like having food brought to him and like TVs and things like that. Like that's not prison. That's just like a vacation, a weird vacation, that you're, but, and the things that he did when he was out, they said, or it wasn't Michael Ryder. It was the other private investigator that was, I forget his name, but he was following him. He was in New York, he was in Miami, like all these different places. And even when he got out, on probation. So he broke probation like as soon as he got out, right? And they were like, he said, do you know where he's at? He's like, and their response killed me. He said, what do you want us to do about it?
What do you want us to do? The same thing y'all did to El Chapo. Y'all was just mad because El Chapo was Mexican.
Right, exactly.
But you know what I'm saying? Because it's the same exact thing. He had money, he had resources, and he knew how to get himself out of jail twice.
Yeah.
They went far and beyond to find El Chapo, to bring him to justice. Yeah. But now you have this man who's right here, American soil, American citizen, making American money, and y'all are just letting him get away scot-free.
Yeah. Scot-free. And it's because of his connections that we've learned, you know, throughout this series, connections, and then all these people in high places that literally, I believe, like you were talking about earlier, Jeroslyn, how people call him, or is he making these calls? I think people call him, you know, they're always, there seem to be always people on the lookout for his best interests. Right. Because of the money. I don't think it's necessarily because of the relationship. It's because what he has to offer them. That's where their loyalty lies. And also, he was granted immunity, right? This is something else that that dug under my skin. And everyone that's considered co-conspirators got immunity as well. How does one come up with that? with that deal? It's insane. You got Jack Scarola. And then Acosta. We keep hearing Acosta, right? Yeah. Acosta's the one, the DA that just wouldn't do anything, right? Basically, he said he went this far and did this hush hearing because that would guarantee Epstein jail time. That was his explanation for doing it. What do you guys think about that?
BS.
Yeah, exactly.
BS.
It's BS. This whole, he never even went to trial. You know, of course, we're gonna keep comparing him to R. Kelly. This is why I say R. Kelly is the Section 8 version of Epstein, because R. Kelly's ass he had to go to trial. He was in trial. He was in the papers. We never even really heard of this case. You know, like even when they were first reporting on it in 2006, that was very local, very Florida. We didn't hear about it. It wasn't a big thing. I was in high school at the time, but I didn't hear about it. We didn't hear about this man until last year in the height of the Me Too movement. It literally wasn't until last year. He was living a completely normal life after already having gotten convicted, served jail time. It's just amazing to see. I'm so happy that this documentary came out. Because like you said, we're seeing his connections and we're seeing other people that need to probably get looked into too. It doesn't matter if you're in the White House, having exited the White House some 20 plus years ago, it doesn't matter. Right. You were involved with this guy who has a ton of secrets and he died with them. I need these secrets to come out.
I know.
Yes, exactly. And names to come out, because I mean, we're going to get into his death I'm assuming in the final episode, I don't know. But there's a lot to discuss about that situation as well. Before we go into our next topic, which is a pretty big topic of little Saint Jeff, I want to say thank you, everybody, for watching and tuning in. We love being here and discussing our TV shows that we have passions for, and really just love coming together and talking about TV, because we are the ESPN of TV talk. And we thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come in your homes and discuss our favorite TV shows. Remember, we got drama, we got sci-fi, we got romance, everything under the sun you can find here. Please remember to give us thumbs up and 5 stars and help us continue to provide this entertainment that we love so much. Thank you again. And we are back here on Filthy Rich. So I want to talk about the island. There's a lot that went down on that island. Oh, like, it's like, where do you start?
Right. The sins sitting on that island.
Dear Lord.
I don't even know who wants to buy it next.
No.
Right. That's what
I was wondering that. I was trying to see and no one. Yeah, right? Still like, under his name. It's like, no, we're good.
It needs an exorcism before.
Yes.
It does. It needs cleansing. Yes. It was I think he bought it for $7.5 million.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
For that time. I mean, it was the late 90s, but yeah, like, $8 million.
I was like, I thought it would be more.
Right.
Yeah.
A big old island like that. But so we see a bird's eye view of everything, cabanas everywhere. We saw something that looked like a mosque. I'm not sure what they didn't really say it was, but it looked like a mosque. I was like, mean, there's also talks about the cult and all that stuff. So I don't know if he did, little things there. Who knows? But the way the island was set up was just creepy.
Yeah.
And then so we have Sarah Ransom that came forward to talk about her experience on the island and trying to escape Ali, what did you think about Sarah's experience and her story?
I mean, her story was definitely one of the hardest ones I feel like to kind of watch or listen to. It was just really raw and emotional. I think it was interesting to get, I like how they're doing it though, how they're slowly kind of giving us piece by piece what's going on, because we're saying there's so much happening and I can't take all of this at once. So I do want to kind of like applaud production or the director or whatever, because they're doing this well, because it is such a heavy topic. But yeah, learning about Sarah was interesting and sad. I think what was more interesting was our IT guy. What was his name?
The father. I forgot his name, right? But
the IT guy. I mean, he gave us he was telling us all of the things that we've all been wondering. Who's been on that island? What went down? And he said it like it was. He told us who he saw. He told us exactly what they were doing. And these aren't the first time. This isn't the first time we've been hearing claims like this being made. So I really appreciated the IT guy, and for finally just clarifying, who was there a little bit. We know Bill Clinton was there, Prince Andrew. It was just this whole island topic was just.
It was a lot to stomach. And I don't know if you girls caught this, but this episode was the first time they've ever mentioned molestation, and it was with Sarah,
right?
Because everything else before that they referred it to pedophilia and all this stuff, but like, and then this massage thing happening, but this is the first episode that they're like, I was molested.
I would like to touch on that because recently I was like involved with a debate. A guy that I went to college with was recently outed having been a sexual predator, right? And there were some people referring to him as a rapist. Now, granted, if you look at all the accounts of all the girls saying things against him, they're not, you can't necessarily title it as rape, but it is still very predator behavior. Right. However, what we need to make clear is that a sexual predator isn't less worse than a rapist. Like, just because you rape someone, that doesn't make you worse than a sexual predator. They're both wrong. It's both disgusting. And so, like you said, with Sarah, she's the first one that we see, that we're hearing, he actually raped this girl. He asked her for a massage. He took her in that room, threw her down, and he raped her. Up to this, we hadn't heard of him raping anyone. But that doesn't mean that for anyone who was giving him a little bit of leeway prior to hearing about Sarah, no, it was still completely wrong. You're asking, you're having young girls come, they're massaging you and you're touching yourself. That is just as disturbing to me mentally as you raping me. You can't say that one is that, oh, this girl, it's worse what happened to her. She got raped. They're both wrong. So I wanted to make sure that is clear for anyone who might be trying to justify this sicko because they are sympathetic or they might themselves be a sicko. So yeah, no, I'm glad you touched on that, because with Sarah's story, again, we saw him preying on somebody who was vulnerable. She was new to America, so I'm sure that intrigued him. Because what we also, what we got to see, learn a lot of in this episode particularly is that he was slinging that pedophilia D from US to France to London to Spain. He had an international visa on that pedophilia.
And I'm the member. And speaking of the member, it was weird how they opened this episode by describing his penis. I was like, why?
Yeah, I could have gone without that.
An egg shape. I was like, what?
But I like why they did it, because they knew that he was narcissistic and they knew that things like that. And look, he tried to walk out. Yeah. He got so angry.
He got so offended.
But was he that offended when they asked him if he had 3 12-year-old girls for a birthday gift?
No.
Poker face for that one. Yeah. But don't talk about my penis now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that being okay with any man, but especially a narcissist like that. Like, it's gonna be all the way to the top. And he was, like you said, he was ready to just leave. He's like, this meeting's adjourned. Like, I'm done. Which is just sickening. But anyway, so we're gonna move on to Shantae Davies. So Shantae Davies, she's the first one we actually seen that's a real masseuse. Like, she's licensed. She's not just brought over to just give me a massage, whatever. So she's given him massages before. But in this particular time, on the island, it was a massage gone terrible. And so another account of him raping, she's saying that he raped her, held her hands down. She did, know and scream and all that. She said she was too afraid to fight back. I mean, you're on the island, no one, you're all alone. Yeah. So, you don't know what's going to happen. So she, at that point, she was just trying to survive. And so she got out there and ran barefoot back to her place and then pretended like nothing ever happened. And so we get like a little detail of her backstory, how, her mom, she was in a horrible relationship. Her mom was very abusive. She had her sister, a little sister, all that. And once again, this vulnerability, right, that he's preying on. And obviously they talked, during massages a lot. So he knew all this stuff about her and just went on like nothing happened. Now, this is victimization, right, at its core. So a lot of times you'll fault yourself. Victims will find fault within themselves and blame themselves, or they'll act like nothing ever happened and just kind of bury that. What were your thoughts about like Shantae's, her story and how she went about with it?
I mean, I felt really sorry for her because one, you still, I mean, as with all the victims, you really see the deep pain in her eyes. And, we're leading into this episode, we don't know her full story. So by the time you get through her whole story, it's like, wow, you understand like this girl, like we got to see with Haley, she is carrying a lot of guilt for involvement with other victims. And I feel sorry for her because I feel like she already went into this situation just so completely vulnerable that she was just easy for someone like him. Easy to take advantage of this girl. And to know that he raped her and she went back, it's like, I can't be mad at someone like that. When I hear something like that, it's like, all right, my heart is going out to you because I don't even know where you are mentally and emotionally to where you can get raped by someone and still communicate with them after that. That's what stuck out to me the most with her story.
It's really hard. And then her sister gets involved, going to Spain, right, to study. And she comes back and has been repeatedly abused by Epstein. And that's when she kind of felt like she had to do something. I don't know what that would be like, and the guilt is got to be unbearable. But we talk about the employees, right? The employees on the island, and the IT guy, right? That talks about, I like the story where he talked to the pool guy, and the pool guy asked him, "Why are you here?" I'm getting a check. But he's like, "Do you have any kids?" I got 2 daughters. And would you want them to come here? And after that, the next day he quit. Ali, what did you think about the his reaction? Not like once he found out, oh, it could be my kids, and then him being able to tell everyone what really went down.
Yeah, I think I agree. That part was, really moving. We know how easy it is for people to be manipulated by this guy. Epstein is powerful. We've seen that. He's a liar. He's all of the terrible things. And so to see this worker working for him for the money, that's what everyone's doing. He's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he's like, "The money." And then when he kind of, really gets down deep with him and he's like, "Do you have daughters?" And he says, "Yes, 13 and 15. He's like, "Would you let him here?" He's like, "Not even 5 miles from this guy." And I think that really hit him. And I feel like a lot of the people involved, you know, they've mentioned so many times is they just don't talk about it. They kind of brush it off their shoulder. It's too hard to talk about, too much to think about. So they don't talk about it. But this guy, you know, was like, no, this is who he is. You've seen it. And I was happy to hear that he quit the next day. I mean, that was an amazing story. And now here he is on this documentary and like sharing the truth, which is, I mean, that's the most heroic thing you can almost kind of do. So yeah, I really applauded him for sharing his story and for leaving when he did. And yeah.
I think it's also interesting how people won't like feel something for someone or some type of situation unless it's turned on them, unless they're, you know, put in the shoes of that. I mean, he knew what was going on. He just decided to turn a blind eye all this time. Now, once you throw his family in the mix, then it's like, hold on, you know? And I just feel like it's sad that that's the case to a lot of things. Like now, a lot of, you know, what happened to George Floyd, and even before that, Ahmaud, and so many others, right? And people turn a blind eye, and there's like, we're kind of desensitized to it because it happens so much, right? But then people won't think about it and say, and do something unless they see themselves or it affects them in some way. You know, so I just wish that we all would we would affect it just because we love each other, you know, and we're willing to do and help each other. But unfortunately, that's not the case right now. So I want to move on to the celebrities we got some eye-opening celebrities.
I mean, but were you surprised?
I was not.
All right, we saw Weinstein.
I was not. So Weinstein,
Woody Allen.
Chris Tucker,
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, you know, Bill Clinton. Like, these are some of the people that were seen with him on the islands doing all this stuff. I was a little surprised with Chris Tucker. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, no, Chris Tucker. No, remember that one? Because I was, when I heard Chris Tucker's name. So what that was a normal trip to Africa for that big concert. So I think Chris Tucker might have just been involved with that concert. And then if you remember, that was the one trip, was that with Sarah went on that one? Or was it? And she said nothing happened on that. Nothing happened. So that's why she was even thinking that it was going to start to be normal.
Right.
But then after that, it went right back to the same. So Chris Tucker, they threw Chris Tucker up in there. It's like, damn, they made Chris Tucker look like he was involved. Chris Tucker.
What y'all trying to do now? He already got enough problems.
I know, because I was like, hold up now, Chris Tucker. I was like, no, we can't cancel Chris Tucker. But so I was waiting to hear. I was like, do we have to cancel Chris Tucker? Because you know, it is cancel time. If you're getting canceled, you're gonna get canceled. But Chris Tucker doesn't. Yeah. When I heard the whole story, I was like, oh, I had to rewind it too, because I was like, hold
up. Right. Yeah,
I was find out if I need to cancel Chris Tucker. But the rest of them, that's all I was saying, is like, it wasn't so surprising to hear of Woody Allen. You know, of course, we already know about Weinstein.
And Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
I mean, we knew about, I mean,
not the best circle of friends he has there.
Nope.
Crazy circle of friends. Then he also talked about, like, you know, the scientists and talking to all these, you know, people and funding ideas and all that stuff. But what interested me the most was what he said about them. He was like, when he was questioned, are there any sexual acts with these people? And he's like, no, they're not. They're like in their 70s, 80s. They're not attracted at all. I'm like, so that was your response.
Right.
That was your response. So that just tells me that the thing with Les was most likely true, you know? Michelle Licata came forward. She was talking about, you know, inflicting her own pain, just to have that sense of control. Crazy. But I want to talk about Virginia Roberts, because she kind of took a forefront of this whole thing, right? So she leaves to Thailand. She was like, first she's asked to have their baby, which was,
my God, crazy. So sick.
Right.
So sick.
Was like, I didn't understand. Was Ghislaine, like, could she not have children, or this was just some?
I guess she can't have kids, you know.
Right. I guess, I don't know, but it was just like, it was random. They asked her to have a baby. She said, okay, if I finally get this masseuse certification. They send her to Thailand. She falls in love, gets married. Tell Epstein.
Look how God sent her an angel.
You think I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
God sent her an angel. Because it was like, she wasn't expecting that. You know, she was only expecting, she was hoping to try to escape in Thailand. And it's like, that's my spirituality. But it's like, she ended up meeting her husband who just was like, girl, I got you. And she's been with him ever since in Australia. It's like,
yeah.
Praise
amazing. Praise the Lord. No, it is. And then after that, they were like, let's go get him. Like, this is enough. Enough is enough. Let's go get him and everyone surrounding that. But before this episode went off, they threw in a little bit of Prince Andrew towards the end and talked about his involvement on the island. And I just thought that was, I mean, we know what, it is what it is. But I just thought it was just crazy how they would like do that.
We've seen his, interviews, that one interview he did, and he didn't really say much. And we know he comes from an extremely secret society family where,
of course,
they'll protect each other as long as, you're of the royal family and not of America biracial background. But
that part,
that's why it's like, the least that can happen is that documentaries can come out, the information can get put out so that the public, the public scrutiny is now at least what you'll get, because we know that the justice system is not justice. It's not going to happen. They're not going to, I just don't see Prince Andrew getting arrested.
No.
I don't, so far, I'm from this episode, it's like, I'm still like, Ghislaine, like, how are you still releasing statements? Right.
And she's from London as well, I think, right? So I think too, they can't get tried over here. And we think we have cover-up culture here. I'm sure the royal family is like times 10.
And who and who knows who she has friends with over there. She's probably mingles with the royal family. So I mean, she might be untouchable as well. So
but again, it goes back to what the justice system is telling us. Is that if you are a person of color selling drugs that people willingly want to purchase, you're an extreme criminal, but a white male, a WASP, who is sex trafficking, who is Ponzi scheming, whatever, lying in the White House, you are above the law, because what we see, what Epstein is getting away with, and what you are flying El Chapo first class to America to extradite him for selling the cocaína. Right. And this man is chilling with extra privileges, and we're seeing what he's doing. You're knowing what he's doing. He's unapologetic about what he's doing. And it's like
very much. That's crazy.
It went out a little bit.
Did you go? Okay, no, we heard you. But do you two have any other anything to add to this episode?
I think I do not.
I do want to say one thing.
Sure.
Okay, because Bill Clinton, I'm sorry. So we know Hillary knows that she was with a cheater. Mm-hmm. So I just find it hard to believe that she had no idea that her husband was out here philandering with whether he was with Ghislaine or an intern or whatever. And it's like, to me, it's like the same way we are looking at Ghislaine, like, how could you allow this to happen? I'm sorry. Hillary Clinton needs to also be questioned, in my opinion, because your husband is tied to too much corruption.
Right.
In the White House, outside the White House. It's now you're years removed out the White House, and we're still finding out stuff about this man. that was our once president, and we're hanging Trump out to dry. I feel like they still need to they need to answer some questions too. I think they're
agree.
Just shady.
I was wondering how, like, I was watching it and like, I wonder how their home life is right now. Like, I wonder if she's seen this, if they're on the internet, like looking at all these latest headlines.
Fly on the wall. I don't think they live together. I don't think they live together.
I don't think they do either. I mean, I think they're literally, it's probably separated. They just have, they're in the public eye, they're the Clintons, but and behind closed doors.
I feel like they haven't. I feel like they haven't slept together probably since 92.
Yeah.
She's like, don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
I wish she would just leave him. Like, just leave him then. And like, you know, come on. As a woman, it's like, just leave him. Like,
that would have probably helped her win the election. But
that would have helped me. But you know what? Like, people care too much about public opinion and what they look like together. Their item. Just like if Jay-Z and Beyonce ever split, I don't think they'll actually announce it because it's Jay-Z and B, you know, like they come in the package. So, but I just think, this documentary is it's gonna definitely bring a lot of people to be in question. I feel like the person in our White House right now needs to be questioned more. That was like cut off very short. I think they like asked him a few things and that was it when Epstein was around last year, I think, when this thing blew up. But definitely, I agree with that for sure. But we're going to move over to our special segment, Shine a Light. Let's go.
Yes, so let's shine a light amidst all this perversion we are discussing from episode 3. So my shine a light of positivity moment goes out to journalist Jane Musgrave with the Palm Beach Post. She was on it. Yes, airing them out. She stayed adamant. So shout out to Jane, and also again, special shout out to Virginia Roberts. Inspiration. Who you got, Allie?
Man, this was a hard one because we saw like little pieces from so many. I was gonna say Virginia because well, all of the women, I think all of the women that we saw from Sarah to Virginia in this episode, definitely. But Virginia at the end, because, you know, she just needed, I mean, she didn't need a husband. Nobody needs a husband, but she needed some support. You know what I mean? Like, she just needed someone to like lift her back up and be like, no, like, you're worth it. You're beautiful. I love you. Like, she needed real love. And when she found that and realized she was worth loving, she's like, let's go get him. And I feel like we're going to see more of her in the next episode. Like really go after him. So I don't know. I was all for her. Also the IT guy, because he gave us a little tea.
Yeah, it's a shout out to Virginia for bagging an Australian. She got her little Liam Hemsworth. Like, go ahead, girl.
That part. I was actually shout out to the IT guy. I blanking on his name. I believe it's Jerry.
I
think it's Jerry.
Jerry, I think it is Jerry.
Is it Jerry?
I definitely want to just shine a light on him for quitting, realizing what was going on that island, and then coming back and telling the tea to us all here in this docu-series unapologetically. You know, because he was talking, he had no fear. And I love that. He was like, this is what happened. I saw this, him, and him.
Yes,
like,
naming names.
So kudos to him, for sure.
And that one employee that the FBI called on the phone.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, man. He's like, yeah, I mean, there was some young girls there. Like, he was just like, yeah, I got to just tell him.
You know what's crazy? I'm almost surprised that we have only seen like one employee talk, though. Because that just goes to show, I Googled, they had 70 people working there. Only one came forward. I'm sure they did a huge, I mean, I'm sure they would have taken more names, but that's just interesting crazy. Too, that's all we've seen.
That is crazy. So a lot of these women have to rely on who will speak up, you know, and tell their stories as well. We got news and gossip. Let's go.
Okay, so we're back to the island fun. This is interesting. You guys may have seen these headlines, but on March 19th of 2020, very recently, The Guardian reported that Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Jeroslyn Maxwell, sued his estate And so she filed a lawsuit with the Superior Court in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where he owned the 2 private islands. And she's seeking to get funds because of all of the legal fees that she's had to deal with, racking up while defending herself against all of these claims. And she's completely denying everything, and now she's trying to get money.
Of course.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. I mean, I'm sure you guys can agree, but she better not get a dime, and she better end up on trial or something, because I still I want her to be questioned, but I don't know how that works with
that's crazy.
The different
I mean, I did read that she Virginia had sued her.
Yeah.
And she had to pay her millions, but I just don't understand how she is still able to walk into a courthouse and issue a lawsuit against someone else, like, without getting arrested or served. It's crazy to me. And the fact that you're suing his estate because your ass has never had a job, and your only job was being his accomplice to sex trafficking. So the fact that you were just dependent on this man for money, and now that he's dead, it's like, well, I got to still get money out of him some kind of way.
Exactly.
It just shows that you're just a shady, kept biatch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Terrible. Well, on that note, thank you guys for tuning in. We got one more episode tonight at 9 p.m. Finding Their Voices, episode 4 here, the Filthy Rich. And so we got a lot more to talk about. I'm excited to see what's gonna go down. We all know how this ends up, but hopefully this year and this docuseries opens up a lot of people's eyes and voices, lift people's voices. So, all right, Jeroslyn, go ahead and see us out.
All right, guys, you can follow me at Jeroslyn Diva. That is Jeroslyn Diva, and Jeroslyn Diva 08 on Twitter. Jeroslyn Diva on Instagram and TikTok.
Yes, and you guys can find me at Alexandra Janes on Instagram and Allie_Janes13 on Twitter.
And you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce. Be sure to tune in 9 o'clock tonight. We'll talk about the last episode of Filthy Rich. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.